my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, our good friend Graham and newest Patreon, so welcome, Graham. Thank you for your support, mate, has picked a movie, Dave, from 2004. It stars Paddy Considine. I called it Constantine last week, I think, Dave, on the...
I mean, it's so... I have to think really hard that it's not Constantine.
Yeah, him as well, Dave. Gary Stretch, Toby Kebbell and Stuart Wolfendine. Dave, we are going to be reviewing Dead Man's Shoes from 2004. So, I know we alluded to it last week before the trailer and everything, but what memories have you got of this one, Dave? I know we've both not seen it before this week, but what sort of made you come across this one at some point over the last few years?
Yeah, well, it wasn't that sort of movie that I'd want to come across it, but so around this time, had no idea that this was a thing. I think, going into 2005, that's when my first daughter was born, so I didn't watch fucking anything. So I think probably I had a whole black spot for at least a couple of years of just not really watching much or, catching up on a few of the probably bigger movies at the time, years later. But yeah, so I had no recollection of this before. I think I said last week that I had no idea who Paddy Considine was until I watched House of the Dragon. And then it was actually his acting performance that just made me think, who is this guy? And so went on to IMDb. Okay, what's he done? And like Dead Man's Shoes came up quite high. And I'm like, oh, never heard of that. So I did actually watch the trailer and a few little clips of it as well. So, I before this pick, I had heard of it and seen a little bit of it, but didn't really know what it was about. But I know his performance was hailed quite a lot, and I'm sure we'll get into that even more. But I tell you, another name, Chris, that I'd completely forgotten about is Gary Stretch.
Yep.
Because in St. Helens, he was a bit of a legend. And I'm trying to think if I'm misremembering, but I'm sure he used to work the doors as well for a little bit. So he was became quite a famous boxer and stuff. But I'm sure he used to work the door at Loews as well. And there's another fellow who used to, a guy called Joey Palladino. It sounds like he should be in Goodfellas, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But he's fucking in.
You won't mess with him, Dave, just off the name.
Yeah, in St. Helens. He used to play in goals for St. Helens Town as well. But I remember him and like Gary Stretch. I think I've talked about John Lyon. He was another boxer as well. So I don't know why there was this little. Well, probably because it was a fucking rough place to grow up. But it seemed to breed decent boxers around that time. But honestly, I'd forgotten him. I'd just ejected him from my memory long ago, and it was when he came up. I'm like, I'm sure I recognize him from somewhere. And then I saw the name Gary Stretch. I'm like, fucking hell! So that was the biggest nostalgia beat for me. Was kind of realizing this guy actually had an acting career. And he did modeling and all sorts, didn't he? Just this fucking guy from St. Helens.
And you know what? It's funny because Gary Stretch, I always remember, I thought he was Nigel Benn, but he fought against Eubank. And he's only, he had 31 fights, 29 wins, 1 loss to Eubank, which was for the WBO middleweight championship. And then he had 1 no contest where it was like a clash of heads. Then he retired, Dave. So we tell you what, you can see from the side, it isn't bad at all. And reading up about how he came into this movie at 11th hour, he wasn't even supposed to be in it. And then he came in. Obviously, he's done some blockbusters as well. He'd been in quite a few things, but not as the main star, but he'd done acting. But yeah, I remember the Beauty and Beast thing against Eubank it was, because he was this model and it showed his Calvin Klein thing and everything. So I remember it was like an ITV. He used to have a lot of boxing on ITV, especially Eubanks. And I hate Chris Eubank. So it was like, at the time anyway, and I used to think like, oh, I fucking beat him. And yeah, he had this record like undefeated, Gary Stretch, but I'd never heard of him, Dave. I knew Nigel Benn, I knew Chris Eubank, but seeing him in something like this, like 13 years later, and he still was in good shape, but like his nose at one point in this movie's just like a fucking
So
plank
flat,
in it.
isn't
It's so flat. But yeah, you say, I didn't realise he was from St. Helens, so you'd know him better than anything. And that his mate's name that you said, that sounds scary as fuck. If you said, like, we've got Gary Stretch, the fucking middleweight champion on the door, and some other guy sounds like he should be Joe Pesci's right-hand man, I'd be like, yep. I'm not doing anything in it tonight. If it kicks off, I'm fucking jumping out of a window because you're going to get leathers. But yeah, and he was such a good looking guy when he was younger, Dave. No, he's not bad looking, but when he was younger, he was really good looking. Like, you know, I think the last couple of fights, he got like broken noses and stuff like that. But some of his modelling stuff, fucking, he's like built out chisel. He like chiseled out of granite or something. He was absolutely a good looking guy. But like I say, Paddy Considine I'd seen this so many times, how good this movie was. You've got to watch it. It's a great British movie, everything. And then you sort of like, no, it can't be that good. And it's one of them things, I think social media is just like the YouTube shorts here, the TikTok. That's where they come across loads of the scenes, which, to be honest, are actually quite early at the start of it. They're actually quite early in the movie, a lot of the scenes that you see on social media. So it's quite a good thing. I mean, it's a 90-minute movie, and I'm just so glad that we got to do this one. I really am. I've just, Fen Grange picked an absolute belting movie, Dave. And I'm not trying to reveal my hand, but it's one of the ones that,
just done.
Yeah, might have just done. But it's just one of the movies I'm glad I can tick it off the box now and say I've actually watched it and I get it. Even though it's 22 years old, I get it. And Paddy Considine, he's fucking excellent in this. Yeah. So yeah, brilliant movie. And if you haven't watched it, the social media stuff, I don't think does it justice. But anyway, Dave, I'm not saying anymore. But I've just ruined the whole thing there. But it's just an interesting pick, I think. Like you say, right on the precipice of like 2005. So I think that's what's really good.
Yeah, and normally if we say it's on YouTube, it's pretty shocking. You know, some of the things we've watched. But this one weirdly is on YouTube at the moment for someone who doesn't have that many subscribers. So I don't know if it'll stay up there for however long, but fairly easy to get hold of this one. So Chris, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
In a quiet town where nothing ever happens.
Apart from one specific thing that's about to happen to everyone. It's not from Yorkshire, Dave, but that's the best I can come up with.
He came back for his brother.
And unfortunately, for the locals, he stayed.
Richard, a man with a past.
And absolutely no interest in letting it go.
The people responsible think it's over.
They are spectacularly wrong.
You got into James Bond.
I don't know what's going on here.
One by one, he'll find them.
Which would be more dramatic if he didn't make it look so easy.
No escape, no mercy, no second chances.
Just a lot of very bad decisions catching up with very stupid people.
The past has consequences.
And in this case, it's walking around in a parka looking quietly furious with the bell-bottom flares, I might add, Dave, from 2004. Boot cut from stolen from Ivor in Manchester Arndale for £10.
I love those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Shoes.
A revenge story where the scariest part is how calm he is about it.
This time,
they should just left him alone.
Richard, a quiet and intense former soldier, returned to his hometown of Matlock, Derbyshire, after time away with the British Army. It quickly becomes clear that he's not back for a reunion. He's here with a purpose. He begins circling a small gang of local drug dealers, men who are uneasy around him from the moment he appears. At first, they don't recognise him, brushing him off as an outsider. But Richard doesn't go away. Instead, he lingers, watching, unsettling them, and slowly getting under their skin. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, it's interesting because I think it starts well. We don't know what Richard's backstory is, but he's got his brother in tow who obviously, idolizes him. The walking, I say the flares. I know I'm taking the piss in the trailer, but them fucking flares, Dave, are just.
I used to love them. Kind of late 90s, early 2000s. I loved a bit of a boot cut.
Yeah, you can't beat a boot cut, Dave. Boot cut, absolutely love it. But I think that shows its age. But like the music's quite good at the start. It sets the tone, doesn't it, of like this. And when I saw the time, I thought this is going to be a good 2.5 hour movie. And it's not, it's 90 minutes. So it's like, it was a low budget movie, 700 grand. It didn't make a lot of box office, but I think afterwards, DVD sales, the word of mouth about how good it was and that has just made this into an absolute British cult classic, I think. So I think for me, it just starts perfectly. And I think that scene, when he goes into the bar at the start, and the guy's the drug dealer's from Manchester because he's been in loads of different things. Yeah, Herbie, he's been in loads of things. Stuart Wolfenden, he's in Corrie and stuff as well. He did a few parts in there. I think he's been like Hollyoaks and stuff like that. He's been in quite a few things, but you get it straight away. The accent doesn't fit because, like I say, I work with lads from Stoke and Nottingham, and obviously Derbyshire. It's in the middle, but it sounds very Nottingham more than Derbyshire, the accent.
Yeah.
So it's very relatable, very like to people speak to every day at work. And honestly, that scene in the pub is fucking brilliant. And I don't want to steal your thunder because you did a great description of it, but that scene, Dave, describe it, because I love that scene when he's sat and his brother says to him, Donny, he just goes to him, he goes, Anthony goes, that's one of them. And he just positions his chair facing this lad who comes into the bar. Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
You know what? I'll show my hand as well. So I'm so glad we got to watch this one. And it's one of those, British indie movies, and not necessarily, my go-to. But, watching it for the first time, and then you get to the kind of twist at the end, I do want to go back. It's not like we've talked in the past about Usual Suspects, and you get to the end and that twist lands with you and you're like, all right, but I don't kind of need to watch the whole movie again. It's all about the Kaiser Soze twist. Whereas for this one, I do want to go back and watch it, again, to be honest. I think the setup, I've no idea what's going on. Like I say, I've seen the scenes. The most famous one, I think, is where he's just stood there, isn't he? And Gary Stretch goes up to him and he's trying to intimidate him. And you can see he's about a foot taller than him. But Paddy Considine, Richard, he's just not threatened at all. And he's just saying, I've got you here, right in the palm of my hand kind of thing. And in that, in that pool hall kind of thing, you got Herbie, who's sort of, he's going around very cocksure of himself, and he's like, the fuck are you looking at? And it's just the intensity of the response. And he's like, you cunt.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking hell. And the thing is as well, the reason I warmed to this movie straight away, and I know I didn't grow up in Derbyshire, but there's just something growing up in a northern town, and like I say, having a bit of a Gary Stretch connection as well, where I fucking recognize the scene almost, and you've got these fucking low, small time fucking local drug dealers and stuff who think they're the fucking shit, and they're not at all, but they go around all cocksure like they are. And you got this lad who, Richard, who's just clearly fucking unhinged. And at the time, his brother's just kind of with him, like. And I don't know what's going on, but it certainly pricked my interest. Like, what's going on here? And I just think it sets up the whole thing really well.
Yeah, I do, and I think I'm again, I don't want to steal your thunder, but we talked about this off the podcast, and I think you said to me, and I think it's a great spot. We did a Patreon pick a couple of months ago called Bull, from 2021, and I think you're absolutely right. And if you said this, so I'm not, stealing this. I think you also. I think this may have been an inspiration for that movie. Obviously, if anybody's seen Bull from 2021, it's such a good movie. But I'm with you. I think at the start is excellent, and I think also knowing that there's a twist it makes sense as well, because this is a very weird bit when he does face his chair and Anthony says to him, that's one of them. And Anthony's got his head down, but Herbie doesn't notice Anthony, does he?
Yeah.
Which is because we're getting flashbacks then of like the abuse, aren't we? We're getting flashbacks of like Gary Stretch especially is an absolute wanker with him. Who's like the leader of the gang, and he's like the main guy, and they're just like befriended him. He's obviously autistic, and they're just being absolutely horrible to him, and just completely. Sonny's a great character, by the way. Gary Stretch is excellent as Sonny. But you're right, we're getting like these flashbacks. So he's at the farm, they're talking. He's like, I'm going to have to go into town, and Nancy's like, I don't want to go, Richard, and he's like, fine. But that bit when obviously Herbie then goes to, he goes into, you see Gary Stretch with Sonny, we see a couple of the other henchmen and that, and then he ends up going Herbie to them other two guys, which is like, you know what, I've got to say, Dave, that seems like a normal conversation. I mean, they're reading the porno magazine, he's like, oh yeah, she likes that dirty. Oh yeah.
Al fresco. That's anal, isn't it?
Yeah. I was just like, what? But the conversation, the guy, not the one who sounds a bit like Thingy out of what's he called, Ralph Thingy out of The Office. He sounds a bit like him, not him. The other guy, I think he's not a great actor.
Do you mean Galactus?
Oh, is that what it is? Galactus?
No, Finchy.
Finchy. Sorry, Finchy. The other guy, Galactus, Tough, the one who plays Tough. He's actually pretty good. It's a normal conversation. So that conversation I can relate to it on a normal level. I don't think like he's trying to act. I don't think he's an actor as such, but I think for some reason that he really grounds that scene, and Herbie's there. And because I'd seen it say like horror, as I said, so I was like, horror. And when he comes down the stairs and fucking Richard's there in the full-on fucking hazmat suit, Dave, forget Back to the Future. This isn't George McFly. This is full-on, you are getting fucking killed. And Herbie runs upstairs. And I must admit, I'm watching it thinking, they've left all the doors there, all the gears there. I mean, why Herbie would leave all the gear that he's got off Sonny, I don't know. But it almost, I'll be honest as well, it almost becomes calamitous where this gang with Sonny, they're like a comedy thing, aren't they? They're absolutely useless. These
buffoons, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. These like, they're not top-level gangsters. Sonny isn't a top-level gangster. I mean, when Richard gets in, obviously he puts graffiti on there, nicks the gear, and he's talking to Anthony about, I've got LSD, I'm going to do a concoction and, kill him and everything. But he then goes into, you see that he goes into everyone's houses, and like Gary Stretch ends up looking like a clown. How he did that without waking him, I know it's to do with the concoction. The other guy's got a knob on his suit. So them scenes are like...
The thing is, right, so he spray paints the guy's hair, and like you say, Gary Stretch. I do think it's dark, but there is some comedy in here. And,
there is.
You say Tough when he's reading out the porno mag, fucking readers' wives or whatever. I do think there are definitely some funny bits in here. But when he turns round and he's got like knob on the back of his suit, I'm like, well, you could just change your fucking jacket.
Why have you come out? But I'm with you. There's some comedy elements. They're almost like... cartoon characters, aren't they? Baddies. They're very like
Keystone Cops.
Yeah, they're not soap. Like a sitcom type baddies, like the Driscoll brothers in The Fools and Horses. One's dead small, one's dead tall. And he gives him £1 and goes, "Get everyone a drinking. I want change." It's like that. They're like the baddies, but they're not. And it's a bit of fear in this like rundown area. And the flashbacks are done really well, because obviously poor Anthony just gets terrorized, don't they? Like they get him to have a sleep with a girl, and she's pretty much forced into it. Then they're all celebrating. Then they get him high on fucking crack, weed, everything. Then Gary Stretch chins him at one point, doesn't he? Sonny, and they just it's awful. It's just like bullying on another level. So, and I think, I'll be honest, Dave, you mentioned stuff like Usual Suspects and that, and I did not see, and I'm not jumping too far, but I didn't see what was going to happen. So then obviously the next scene really is he's done this to them. And this again, this is only like half an hour into the movie. The two most iconic scenes are him calling him a cunt in the bar, which I know it's not a nice word, see you next Tuesday. But the one when they're in that fucking Citroen 2CV, Dave. I mean, that's in For Your Eyes Only when it rolls down the hill. And Gary Stretch is about 6'4" in it. And he gets out, and that scene, brilliant from both of them. You know, Sonny comes over and he's like, you know, those people are scared. And he says to Anthony, he goes, just stand over there. And Anthony's there. And obviously Sonny doesn't acknowledge Anthony. And he's like, you know, he goes, all right. Yeah, have we had the... And he goes, yeah, it was me. Oh, it was. And he don't know what to do. And he's in his face and all the lads are in the car going, chin him, fucking chin him. And he's like, I love that bit when he says, you just here. You fucking here. Yeah. And then he says, it's where you... And he tells him where he's staying. He went, you better come for me before I come for you. Yeah. Honestly, Dave, goosebumps, that scene. I think the acting is sensational from Paddy Considine. He's so good. Honestly, he's brilliant in this. And Gary Stretch, he's brilliant as well. Totally underrated in that scene. I love it. Because Sonny don't know what the fuck to do because this guy's not scared. He goes, you're not scared of me? He goes, no, fucking not. I love it, Dave. I love that. When you've got someone who's got nothing to fear, don't matter who you are, he's going down with you. And a lot of bullies end up shitting his pants, and he did at that point. He's like, oh fuck, we are fucked here.
Yeah, I love the scene as well, and I'll definitely you know, investing 90 minutes into a movie is quite a lot, isn't it? You know, got busy lives and whatever, but fuck me, I'll watch that scene plenty more times again. I will watch this whole movie again at some point, but just it's quite a perfect scene, isn't it? And again, just to ground it, just to ground it, it just feels familiar. So, right, like you say, just growing up in that fucking shithole northern town, it just all feels familiar. And someone like Sonny, he's probably used to mostly dealing with people who are easily intimidated by him. You know, we see with Andrew, you know, he's throwing a right hook, and so you know he can handle himself, but he just doesn't know what the fuck to do. And like you say, Paddy Considine is held up, you know, for his acting performance in this. But I agree. I think it's underrated what Gary Stretch does here. I think you can see it's not like he's not hamming it up that, you know, actually, oh shit, I don't know what to do. I'm now cowering. And you can see tough in that in the car. I mean, again, just the fucking 2CV, having them all packed in there is just visually comedic. But yeah, just an amazing scene. And I want to go back. As we're talking about it, I kind of want to watch it again now.
Oh, it's a great movie, and it is, and I think from there, this is where that horror side of it comes, because obviously they all come together, and from nowhere, he takes out the guy who's got knob written on his jacket. You know, he takes him out, doesn't he, and fucking bludgeons him to death. And even then, they are like comedy fucking, they're panicking out. They're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Yeah. And it's when Sonny's, and again, you say about comedy, but Sonny's like, he's at a fucking farm. I'm going to get a gun. I'm going to pop him. Oh, you're going to fucking shoot that tough guy's like, you're going to fucking shoot him, Sonny? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to fucking pop him. I'm going to get there. We'll pop him. And honestly, Dave, fucking turn up in that Citroen again. And he's out the top. But it's like, got that weird, like, convertible thing. He undoes it. And he gets the gun and fucking like a rifle. And that guy goes at him. And Richard comes out with his fucking axe. And he shoots fucking his mate, doesn't he? He shoots, what's he called? It's the guy who shoots, is it Big Al or whoever? He shoots one of them and he's dead. And they just run off. And I'm like, it's a strange film because it's really gruesome and really horror based. And Richard's just got nothing to lose. But also that bit when he shoots him, it's just like, why the fuck have you run off? You've got a gun. He's got. I know. Shoot him again. That's a bit weird, but yeah. Even so, again, they are absolutely useless. Their aura as baddies and drug dealers and fucking these local gangsters is just falling apart by one guy who just will not back down. He just stands there, and he's like, "What the fuck's this?" Honestly, it's a great scene again.
Yeah, I do think it did seem a bit of a stretch. I mean, I assume he drove there with more than one bullet. And then he just managed to do a Walking Dead style headshot on his mate there. And I guess I can rationalize it that, they are small time. So, it's not like fucking killing someone is second nature to them. It's not like Joe Pesci, like you mentioned earlier. So I guess they sort of shit themselves is how I can rationalize it, and drove off. But at the time when I was watching it, I was thinking, well, it's just one bloke. Just you've gone there to shoot him. Now fucking shoot him.
Yeah. And he could have. He must have more than one bullet. I couldn't work out Sonny's motives, but then we get this we get this sort of. We then get a flashback. Sorry, actually, of like that girl taking Anthony's virginity and everything and all that, and then like just manipulating him. But it's when the three of them end up in the house together and they're trying to survive, aren't they? And they're doing weights and that, and fucking Sonny's there doing weights, and he's got like about 10 kilos either side, and he's like, I know. Fucking Argos weights them, Dave. They're fucking so light. And he's like, take it. But he's in good shape. Gary Stretch is in good shape.
I didn't understand that either. He's like, take it. But the position of it, it's clear that he wasn't having any problems with it at all.
No, it was just a weird thing. But there's one line, I don't know if you noticed it, there's one line which would be normal conversation between mates, and that is if you've run out of a cup and that guy and they're talking about, like, he's having a fucking shit at one point. One of them's in the bath. They don't want to leave. They're all scared of him, aren't they? They don't want to leave the room together. It's when he goes, I don't know why, it made me laugh. He goes, fucking pot noodle. I tell you what, we could use that as a cup, We could use that for a brew and everything. And I don't know why. It just was just a stupid line. It just, I don't know. It just made like the sort of conversation you have with your friends. So I think a lot of the dialogue might have been ad-libbed, but it just felt quite real.
Yeah. I must admit, there was points in this where I thought, they're all going to like fucking sexually abuse him.
I did that. Yeah, I did.
Especially one of the older fellas, the fella who had his
Big Al
hair. Yeah, whichever one. There's two older fellas, wasn't there? The one with knob on his back. He was the first one to get killed off. Maybe I think I might be misremembering there, but when he first opens the window, he's got like no shirt on, and he's obviously trying to get Andrew in the house. And I'm like, oh fucking hell, like. And I really like the way it unfolds. And I think you mentioned about Bull. I kind of forgot we'd had that conversation, to be honest. But it's weird to watch Bull and then watch this, because the twist is not quite exactly the same, but it's almost, it's the same beats where you get in the flashbacks throughout the movie, and you kind of learning a little bit about what's gone on in the past as you're going through the story in real time. But yeah, I thought that was going to happen, and especially with Sonny, where he's basically saying about you got two choices and one of them suck my cock or whatever. That's what I thought the crescendo was going to be. So yeah, I didn't see what the actual twist was going to be.
No, and I didn't see it at all. Like, obviously, I said it before about like when they're in the bar and Anthony turns and he's like, I don't want to go back into town, Richard. And he's talking and talking. It's still, he sort of goes through torture. And to be honest, he takes out Sonny, doesn't he? He kills
quite
Sonny
easily.
Yeah, he does, to be fair. You think there's going to be a showdown or a punch-up, and he doesn't. And he puts the plastic bag over him because he's got this cocktail. He says to Anthony, I've got this cocktail. I'm going to fucking, drug him and everything. And he doesn't. He shoots him in the head. I love the bit, though, where he pauses for a second and he just looks down at him and he closes his eyes before he does it and then opens him and then shoots him. That's quite, like, eerie. But then he takes, obviously, the others out. Herbie, he says, oh, you're a good guy. And they're, like, hugging everything. And then he knifes him and that. But it's this other guy from nowhere called Mark. And obviously his wife is the woman who's in Afterlife, Joe Hartley. She's in that. She's his wife. And he explains about how they tortured him, and he's saying, Sonny, because he gives a knife to her sons, doesn't he? And he says, this is, I was in the army. And then he realised, he tells her. And I thought he was going to get the redemption thing. So we then see that there's this horrible scene where he's telling his wife about how Anthony basically committed suicide or hung himself. And I thought Mark saved him. I thought, Mark must have gone in and saved him. Maybe he's going to get beat up and a bit scared, but Richard's going to ding it. But no, that's the actual twist in the movie, is that it's a bit of a Sixth Sense thing. Anthony's actually dead and Richard's just hallucinating. It's a whole guilt trip of revenge, isn't it? And I did not see that coming in Bull. I didn't see it in Bull till the end, Dave. I know some people criticised it, but I thought this is well done, but I think it could have been done better, because it made sense, Anthony turning his back and the guy's not even noticing him. Gary Stretch doesn't notice him, does he? Sonny just comes straight for him. So he's obviously on his own. I think that is a brilliant twist. I'm just not sure that was completely convinced watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really. I didn't see it coming. It doesn't sound like you did either. So I guess that was, I guess they did it quite well. Again, I felt like they were going to end up murdering him or something. Sorry, not murdering him, but fucking raping him or something. But when you get to see, so it's like the camera shot is outside, isn't it? And you can see him swinging. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, and then you get into the, like, say, the whole Sixth Sense thing there. But you can tell already that Mark seems to have moved on in his life. You know, even the flashbacks, you can see the actor does quite well. Like, you know, you can see he's kind of going along with it and he's not stopping it or anything, but he's also not really contributing that much, you know. So, and then now I have no idea what the time jump is. Because when you see Andrew's funeral, you get to see Richard stood there in his army uniform and everything. He's got no beard or what have you. So there's obviously been some time past. Mark's gone on. He's met his wife. Again, like you said about Afterlife, as soon as I saw it, it's like, oh, Afterlife. And, they've had a couple of kids and he's moved on with his life. So he isn't part of that circle anymore. So, that's where it's all coming to a crescendo. The bit that I think could have been done better is kind of Richard's turn, because when Mark's describing, what happened and, he should have done more to save him and what have you, I feel like, I don't know what it is, and I can't say exactly how they could have done it, but Richard's turn didn't seem to make sense to me. He was saying, you should have been a monster and this, that, and the other, but I feel like you should have maybe seen more conflict within Richard. But it just seemed to come out of nowhere that, he realizes he's the monster and he's done a lot of terrible things. He just wants to be with his brother. And so he's trying to goad Mark into killing him then.
Yeah, it twists a lot, doesn't it? You're right. I think and just like talking about it, like you think, what a bloody film! Like what a great film to put together. Like just it's a all-in-one, self-contained story of revenge about guilt more than anything with Richard because he's left his brother, and like you say, the twist and everything. And obviously, he's got some sort of PTSD from being in the army. He's got no fear about dying. Like, yeah, just honestly, I think it's one of the movies that just leaves you thinking afterwards. It really does. It's just a completely different movie to me at all. From what I was expecting, I just didn't think it was going to be something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I knew what I was going to expect, but I wasn't expecting what I got. So, yeah, no, it's been a great movie and a great chat. But Chris, should we get into our final review?
Let's go. Right, so before I give my scores, Dave, Graham has actually sent in a little passage there. So I am going to try it in the acting range that Chris Phelps is known for, Dave, and read out what I think Graham's voice is like. So, Graham, I do apologise if this isn't your voice. So, okay. I love how this. It's Yorkshire.
Sure? Just a generic Yorkshire, not Graham. You're going to offend him.
And he's from London or whatever. Sorry, Graham. Anyway, So, okay, I love how there's a couple of great low-budget jump scares that is just the timing of Paddy walking into frame right at the start with Stuart Wolfenden. Then the scene where he appears with the axe when they want to shoot him. The pacing is amazing throughout the whole film. I love British Indies, and it's mint. This is starting to get some recognition. Anyways, have a lush one, Graham. Dave, that was in my best Sean Bean as well. Oh, no, hang on. So he does say, I was not far.
I was going to say there's another bit.
Hang on. I could also talk about, as a working class lad from a small northern town, how realistic the petty gang gigs. I'm sure you've picked up on that too, Graham. Yeah, Dave, that sounds exactly like Graham. Graham, I can only apologise. Dave made me do it. I'm sorry.
But yeah, absolutely. And I think because you grew up in Manchester, and I've talked about it in the past, so I was born in Liverpool, but probably moved to St. Helens when I was about 7 or something. So mainly growing up, I mainly remember the St. Helens bit, and that's what resonates for me about this movie. It is that small town thing with small time crooks and stuff. So yeah, no, cheers. Appreciate that, Graham.
Oh, it's good stuff. So for me, Dave, thank you, Graham. And I also apologise at the same time. Great movie. Really good movie. Absolutely loved it. I would definitely watch this again. I think Paddy Considine is fucking amazing. Gary Stretch is excellent. I think the cast just does a good job. And it's hardly anybody. And there's probably 10 people in this movie. But they all just do a really good job. I think the flashbacks and everything, the treatment of Anthony's appalling, but it just builds the tension. And Rich is just an absolute psychopath, especially the way he ends up taking himself out, because it's all about guilt as much as it's about revenge. So I'm going to put this, Dave, in Pleasantville. It's not at the top. However, it's an absolutely excellent movie, but it could go up there if I watch it again, which I probably will. It's a great movie. I'd recommend anybody, if you've not seen it, definitely, if you can, get hold of it. And it's actually, there's about 2 really, really good HD copies on YouTube, so you've got no excuse. It's absolutely brilliant. So if you get on YouTube, Dead Man's Shoes, full movie, it's there. So enjoy if you've not watched it. So thanks for that, Graham. Great pick. So Dave, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm going the same. I'm going Pleasantville as well. I think this has been a massive surprise. I know it's got plaudits, but as I've spoken about in the past, sometimes that puts me off more than makes me want to watch something. So I'm glad that, we got the opportunity to watch it this week. I just think, again, you look at the budget, it's like 700 grand or something. It's ridiculous to put something together like this. And yeah, just the performances more than anything of not just the main cast, like you say, Paddy and also Gary Stretch there, but the entourage, the fucking useless gang, but gang all the same. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And like I say, whereas with some other movies at times I've watched it and then thought, right, well, I know what the twist is now. I don't need to see it again. I do just want to, for the individual scenes, I do want to go back and watch this one. So, and yeah, I don't quite get the horror thing. I know he turns up with his gas mask, but maybe that's why it kind of got a horror. And when we looked at the trailer last week, it certainly, the trailer seems to be cut as if it's a horror movie, but I don't think it is. It sort of sits as its own, this kind of drama, thriller, maybe. But yeah, definitely really enjoyed this week.
Oh, brilliant pick. So Dave, next pick, it is our great friend and patron, Mr. Matt Bates, Dave. Now, he's picked a movie, and, briefly looking at the cast, Dave, it's a few people that have been in some of our movies over and over, especially recently. So we've got, Dave, Robert Loggia, the old legend, Dave. We've also got Anthony LaPaglia, who was also in Empire Records, we did a few weeks ago. We've also got, Dave, Chaz Palminteri from A Bronx Tale, which I absolutely loved. We've got Tony...
I thought that was the only thing he was in.
No, he's in this. So there's quite a good cast in this one we're doing next. So we've got Tony Sirico, who plays Jacko, is also in Sopranos. David Provel, who's in Sopranos. So we're going to cross that over. We've got Tim Savini, who's been in some of our movies. Kim Coates, Dave, who was in The Last Boy Scout, but more importantly for me, was in Sons of Anarchy. Don Rickles, who's in loads. He's one of Sinatra's mate. Angela Bassett, Dave. Christopher Lee. Peter Cushing. So, Dave,
Jesus
we are...
Christ.
Yeah, it's someone picked this week. I've never heard of it, but I think he's got a bit of a gangster tone, but he's not a gangster, Dave. It's an actual violent horror movie with a bit of mob boss stuff on the side. So we are going to be covering, Dave, Innocent Blood. So let's get into the trailer. It's some cast, this, Dave. And it
is, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realise there's that many people. I saw Chaz Palminteri, which I love this, Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
Oh, look, his hair's grown a lot, Dave, since the Bronx Tale.
I could tell you're excited.
He looks a bit younger there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard not to see him as Sonny, to be honest.
Yeah. Looks like
I don't think he's going to be in this for that long.
Hey, what are you, some kind of a freak?
A little bit of a thriller job there.
Now, this guy's lost a lot of blood.
He had his head blown off.
No, this guy's really lost a lot of blood. Marie had a hunger to feed on the evil.
Marie?
Want a ride? You got one.
Michelli's a gangster.
Call me Sal.
Ow.
Who's out to
What
take
an
over the
interesting
city.
mashup of
I've
vampires and gangsters.
But he
Never even heard of this, Dave.
No.
Relax.
with a taste for Italian.
Do you reckon all these famous people are just going to be offed by the main vampire?
Yeah.
And the undercover
You are under arrest.
are teaming up
Michelli's not dead, is he?
Gotta get hold of yourself to take the bite out of crime.
You're gonna be made men. But when you're made by me, nobody can touch
Oh
you.
my word. What is this, mate? This is going to be amazing.
Welcome to the family.
From John Landis, the director of An American Werewolf.
John Landis.
lost a lot of blood. Are you sure you don't need more?
Don't worry, you're not my type.
It's just as a penchant for Italian, Dave. Looks like a lasagna.
Innocent Blood, a movie that goes straight for the jugular.
Oh, Dave. You know what? This is going to be right up our wheelhouse.
I don't know what to say about that, because normally if it's a straight up vampire movie, I don't think you're liking it. But the fact that it's grounded in this kind of gangster film as well, I've never heard of it. Although I might have seen the VHS cover for this one, but really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too. I've never seen it. I'm looking forward to this one as well, unusually. But brilliant stuff. So, Dave, what musical magic have you got for us to take us out with today, my friend? Oh, in fact, no, before we do that. Yeah, let's just thank everybody as well. So
I thought I might have just done my switch off there. So
No, that was me. I do apologise, everyone. So if you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. If you want to email us, the VHS Strikes Back @gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHS Strikes Back. So a big thank you to our good Yorkshire friend, Graham. I apologise, Graham. I do apologise for that accent. Graham, Matty V, Reese, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike Lee, Helen Dillon, Dan Justin, Susan Tim, Matt Hales, Kent, Lucky Luda Green, Herbs Jack, Math Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much for your support, guys. Brilliant. And Matt's pick next week. I can't wait for that now, Dave. So anyway, as I said a minute ago, Dave, what magic have you got for us today?
Well, I thought as this was grounded in the kind of East Midlands, I thought, and 2004, my mind kind of went to that indie, the new post-Oasis indie, so more things like Arctic Monkeys and what have you, and obviously they're a little bit further north, aren't they, from Sheffield, but that was where I kind of grounded this one. And although I would say that probably the top scene is the one with Richard and kind of Sonny. But even before that, for me, the thing that pricked my interest straight away is in the pool hall, and you get that kind of interaction. I just thought the storytelling that you have with kind of some of the early Arctic Monkeys stuff, I kind of grounded myself there. So this one, Chris, is called What Are You Looking At?
Just after 9, same old coat like he's killing time. Said alright like he knew the place. Swear I've seen that sort of face. Someone says, you know that bloke? No, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Got that look like he's clocking you, but not how your mates would do. Now he's hanging around not saying much, just watching people a bit too long. Who's he with? What's he after? No one's quite sure what's going on. Then he stops, just staring straight. What are you looking at? No one laughs, no one bites. Just a couple lads step back. Funny how the mood just slips when it turns out just like this. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Says it like he means it and it don't land right. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Swear I know that face from somewhere. Just can't place. Just can't place. Now there's talk, but it's all half said. Like something's there, but it's not quite said. Swear they've heard it all before. Just don't say it anymore. And the ones who used to laugh the most are the ones going quite up close. Cause it's different when he stood right there and you're not sure why you care. We're now just messing about.
Tune this, Dave.
That's what they keep saying
Really?
out loud. Same street, same face, same place. Still can't put a name to the face. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? It's written on their faces, but they won't react. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Swear they know their face from somewhere. Just can't place. Just can't place. Yeah, you can't.
Very good, mate. That's good tune, that.
He's honestly, and it's a grower as well. Cause
That's what they all say, Dave.
not a shower, but no, honestly, and that sort of takes me back as well. Because obviously, before the Arctic Monkeys broke it in the mainstream, we used to do a few of their songs, didn't we? Because what was the drummer's name? Tom. And it kind of got us into that. I remember doing like Scummy Man and stuff, Mardy Bum. And so it was just handy when they did make it in the big time. And then we already had their songs, before anyone else did.
I like to think we were trailblazers there, Dave, back in the day.
Absolutely, copying Trailblazers, but yeah, no, I really love that song, and that for me would fit on that first album, potentially there. But Chris, amazing chat today. Thanks so much to Graham as well for the pick. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back. That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Yeah, maybe you stupid. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you at 6.